You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Well, happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. We are one day away from the weekend. We got Friday standing between us and some time off of the day jobs and the daily grind and all that fun stuff. But before we get to that, we do have a show to get out of the way. Good evening, folks. This is Mr. Rick Robinson. I'm host of America Off the Rails, also co-host on this one right here, the Jen and Rick Show. And I am joined by the other half of the crew on this one, Miss Jen Homestead. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I mean, I honestly have kind of taken a news break over the last couple of days because, well, I mean, kind of, sort of. I haven't really been doing much research. What I have been doing, though, is watching each side have their respective meltdowns over the whole Donald Trump Jr. thing, and each side is, like, firmly entrenched themselves and lobbing grenades at each other, and I'm just over here eating popcorn going, look, I'm not saying a word about any of this until I find out what the whole story is, because, I'm sorry, in my opinion, the mainstream media and all of the different groups have been all over this for months upon months upon months upon months, and every time some new big earth-shattering event comes out, turns out to not be anything like what they're making it out to be. So pardon me if I'm not as excited about everybody else that Donald Jr. may or may not have met with a Russian attorney, that may or may not have had ties to the Russian government, because we're still not sure exactly how or if she was connected. Just saying.
Right. Yeah. I said this to someone the other day that was like, well, we just have to be this, and I went, okay, that's fine and all, except for we do not have the, we keep having bombshells that turn out to not be bombshells. So they keep promising us all of these things, and they keep saying, this is going to be the thing that does it in. This is going to be the big thing. And it always falls flat. So, it's just really hard for me to get too outraged or excited about it.
I mean, look, if we ever actually find out that there was collusion, whoever did the collusion, or if there was actually, some illegal activity, because I hate to break it to the armchair attorneys out there, collusion isn't actually a crime. It's not.
Well, that's the thing is, okay, inappropriate, maybe. Like, is there some deception going on? Probably. Have some people lied about things? Absolutely. Treason, collusion, impeachment worthy, you got to give us more than some of this crap that they're throwing.
Well, not according to Tim Kaine. I mean, he's already calling for treason.
Yeah, and he can bend over and stick it where the sun don't shine.
That wasn't exactly the word choice I was going to use, but we'll go with yours. Yours are slightly less colorful than mine have been lately. So
I mean, seriously, you can't. You've got a president that sent over, just boatloads of cash to Iran. You've got all sorts. You've got the Fast and the Furious scandal. You want to talk about treason?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're really going to get down with what treason is by a U.S. president, by a sitting president, maybe people that worshipped Obama want to shut up. Just saying.
Well, you'd think. I mean, there was the Fast and the Furious scandal. There was the Benghazi incident that was pawned off on a YouTube video that turned out didn't have anything to do with the YouTube video, where, there are unconfirmed reports that it wasn't even Obama at the helm that night because nobody could find him. So, I mean, if the left really wants to start talking treason, I mean, we really, I think, have a lot more material than they do. But here's the thing. I just have one question. Can someone just please, for the love of God, bloody well report the news? I just want the news. I don't want the opinion.
Well, that's right.
I don't want the opinion. I don't want the crap. I just want the facts so that I can make a decision. And no matter where I turn on the news anymore, I don't get just the facts. I can't even, like Tucker Carlson the other night, I heard him say, I like Tucker Carlson, by the way. He's one of the few people on Fox that I still like to at least listen to, other than the
Same.
Five. I do enjoy the Five. But last night I heard him, and he was coming out in favor of Iran by the time, because he had gotten so turned around by a general that was on the air with him that he was just coming out saying anything he could to oppose what the former general was saying. And I'm like, Tucker, do you even realize what you're saying right now? Are you listening to the things that are coming out of your mouth? And that's exactly what I'm talking about. These people, they pick a side and they stick with it no matter what. They're not journalists. And I don't know if Tucker even considers himself a journalist, but even people that call themselves journalists, they're not journalists anymore. They're kamikaze pilots with their facts picked, and they're going to stick with it till the plane goes down, and wherever it winds up is where it winds up. If it hits the target, great. If not, my career was worth it. I don't understand the concept anymore. Nobody just gives you the facts and lets you make an opinion and make your own decision and form your own opinion. It's annoying.
Right. Well, that's the thing is, somewhere along the way, people just completely abandoned that at all. All anybody cares about now is putting forth some agenda, and really the main thing that's having that is making this such a thing right now is because it's not just the far left that's anti-Trump. There is such a large spectrum of media from conservative to left, middle ground, whatever, that are anti-Trump. So you've got even more of a whammy on him at this point in coverage. But they for so long were able to just excuse and prop up Obama, and they had an administration that they mostly liked, and they would get a little critical every now and then to kind of pat themselves on the back for being fair. But for the most part, they did everything they could to support and be proponents of the administration. Now you've got a guy that most of them, first of all, screw all of them. They pushed in the primary season because they thought their gal could win, and she couldn't. So, they're partially responsible for this. So I'm sorry, cry me a freaking river about, what it means to have Donald Trump as president, because you freaking put us here. There were countless amounts of conservatives and Republicans that he was not their choice at all. So, and then became so as it was like, oh, it's not kidding, he's actually running. And they thought this was great fun. They thought this was a good deal. And by the way, a lot of them back then, even though he was kind of saying the wall stuff and the, and talking about, getting rid of ISIS and that he Muslim this and Muslim that, even with all of that, a lot of people still recognized him for what he was, which is a New York Democrat. So they weren't so incredibly scared of having him as the actual option for the GOP until he really kind of went bonkers and it got all out nuts after the primaries were over. So they are so, what I mean to say by all of this is they are incredibly invested. And so there's no such thing as reporting anymore for most people, for most journalists. There's just no such thing. They cannot remove themselves from the politics of it and from their own emotional investment in it. And that's why we've got what we do. And so you can't trust anything that you hear or read, pretty much.
Now, I'm gonna flip the script for a second. We're gonna come at this from another direction for just a minute, and but it's kind of along the same vein of what you're talking about right now, from Trump's perspective. And a lot of people have not wanted to think about this way because everybody has a vested opinion when it comes to Trump, and most people that in the circles that we run with, you either like him or you hate him. I was one of those ones for the longest time that up until the day that I knew he became president, I was against him until the day that he got sworn in. Once he was sworn in, I'm like, look, dude, I'm not going to be the guy running or trying to root for the iceberg. And I've said that before when it comes to, being on the Titanic. But let's look at this from Trump's perspective, because These people that are now demonizing him at every turn used to come to his events. They used to have him on their shows. They treated him as a friend. They used him to bolster their ratings. He used them to bolster his ratings for his TV shows, his books, all of those things, and it was a big quid pro quo. And then they helped push him. They helped make this because they knew that Hillary Clinton wanted this. Everybody wants to know why Donald Trump is still so hung up on the media. I will tell you why Donald Trump is so hung up on the media, as much as I wish that he wasn't, and I'll explain why I wish he wasn't in a moment. It's because up until 5 seconds ago, he viewed every single person that is coming at him now with a knife in their hand as a friend. And he doesn't know how to deal with betrayal. You can see that anytime that somebody turns on him, he doesn't know how to deal with it. He doesn't have the mindset to deal with it. Because, I mean, granted, he's a business guy. But at the same time, I don't think he has been anywhere near in a position that he's in right now, where everybody, I mean, come on, he had pictures posing with the chick that just a few weeks ago got in trouble for putting a severed head that looked like him on TV. She was posing with him for pictures just like 6-7 months ago. And now she's like, I wish you were dead, you bastard. And he's like, what? I mean, no wonder he is that they stay in his head and he stays in theirs, because he considered these people friends. Now, why I wish he could put this down. The president should be the one setting the tone, not the media. There have been a lot of positive things that have happened in the Trump administration over the last several weeks, and nobody's talking about them because we're too busy arguing about whether or not Donald Trump Jr. knew that he was supposedly breaking the law when he, as a private citizen, before the guy even got the nomination, was meeting with a Russian to try to see about whether or not there was dirt on Hillary because she may or may not have had some ties to the Russian government. This honestly, I saw Gene Garibelli, who puts a show out with us on Friday nights. He posted something, and by the time I read through it on Facebook, it reminded me of the scene from Spaceballs, where the main character and the guy that's, supposed to be the funny version of Darth Vader was like, I'm your father's brother's sister's cousin's husband's roommate. What does that make us? Absolutely nothing. By the time you look at all of the supposed connections here, it feels like we're rewatching a political version of that particular scene, because it's all of these supposed ties that lead nowhere, and by the time you're done looking at all of it, you've got nothing, and everybody's all up in arms about it. And I'm just like, all I want people to do is tell the truth. If you did something that stupid, tell us why you did it. If you didn't do it, then tell us you didn't do it. But I'm tired of talking about Russia. I mean, for God's sake, I feel like we've been stuck on the same episode of the Brady Bunch for 12 months. It's like every time somebody comes out in the news, it's Russia, Russia, Russia. And I'm like, I'm over it. I'm just done.
No, I hear you. And I think there's just so many, there's so many ways in which not just Trump himself, but the Trump team, Donald Trump Jr. with the email thing. I mean, I saw a funny meme where it was like, hey, so you think you did what? And he's like, well, I'm not sure if it's that or not. And he's like, oh, the lawyer's like, okay, that's cool. Just don't tell anybody else. And it's a picture of Donald Trump Jr. looking up from his phone, like with a funny face. And he's like, sorry, just posted it on Twitter. And, some of that stuff is pretty funny. And I feel like that's kind of how they operate. I feel like they're like, oh, I know how to fix this real quick. I'll do something. And so no matter what kind of little, suspicion in the administration is happening with, there's like, oh, we've got this scandal, or, oh, we've got this thing, or, oh, blah, blah, there's no evidence. There's no anything to go on. There's just people shrieking and going crazy. And then Trump tweets something so stupid that it gives it some sort of validity. Or, someone that's connected to him, someone in one of his, like in the cabinet, someone that is on his, that is part of his team in some way or another, says something or does something that lends more credence to the whole affair. And so there's so many times where I think that they are just, they're shooting themselves in the foot with all of this, that some of this may have gone away, or at least been a little bit more like, oh, okay, whatever, if they would just stop responding and stop thinking that they have to defend or do anything about it. And the latest thing is his lawyer for all of this Russian business, like the Russia lawyer, Mark Kazowitz, loses his mind in late night email exchange with a stranger. I mean, someone who was watching MSNBC and saw Rachel Maddow talk about this ProPublica piece, on him, on the lawyer. This guy decides to send him an email saying resign now. And it was super vague and not a big deal. And Koslowitz just has to respond. It responds one right after another, firing off. I'm on you now. You're effing with me. Let's see who you are. Watch your back, beat. Call me. Don't be afraid, you piece of beep. Stand up. If you don't call, you're just afraid. I already know where you live. I'm on you. You might as well call me. You will see me. I promise, bro. I mean, what on earth are you doing, dude? And so it just keeps, I feel like there's a lot of fumbling going on in this administration, which, shows me that, number one, the inexperience that is so evident. And then number two, the inability to take on advisors and handlers that do have experience in this, at this level of the political realm. And so it just keeps making it worse, and it makes a lot of stories out of nothing, I feel like.
The sad thing about that is, as inept as the Obama administration was, and as we eventually found out after 8 years exactly how dysfunctional they were, at least they hit it for the first couple of years of their first term. I mean, Donald Trump is barely months in, and it's literally... I mean, I hate to use this analogy because I keep seeing everybody throw it around, but it's like you're watching an Italian crime family that tries to go legit and can't quite pull it off because, somebody's like, oh, resign now. And it's like, I'm going to find you. And I'm like, really? You're seriously talking to this guy like you're some mob boss? I mean, what the hell?
That's what I mean. It's just absolutely crazy. And there's no... there's really no etiquette. I mean, that's what's even more strange to me, is that these people have been high up in business. They have held prominent and powerful positions. How do they not know how to behave? You don't just lash out at people. You don't write emails calling people, names and telling them you're threatening to fine them. You don't respond to every little criticism. I mean, how have these people functioned in the real world and gotten to where they do? I don't understand. But it absolutely, it's more imperative, for politics, and especially when you're running the leader of the free world. I mean, you're running the freest nation that has ever existed. And
oh wait, haven't you heard the leader of the free world, Angela Merkel, now?
Yeah. Okay. Good one.
That's according to the leftists, anyway.
Yeah, well, they can go ahead and go to Germany and see how they feel after that.
Oh, no, it was just funny because I actually heard somebody talking about that the other day. It was, I think it was actually on MSNBC. I heard somebody referring to the fact, since Trump has so horribly dropped the ball, Angela Merkel has stepped in and has now basically become the leader of the free world. And I'm like, really? Because anytime I see her, she reminds me of a transgendered version of Yvonne Drago from Rocky. I'm not sure she's the person you want leading the free world. I must break you. No, probably not a good idea. Just saying. Sorry, did I say that?
I mean, well, and people say that a lot of people are saying that Macron is now the beginning of, he's going to be the newest leader. And I'm like, y'all are just all kidding yourselves. And I know that you all hate Trump and you think that somehow he is going to make the United States or the position of the president irrelevant or otherwise, somehow less successful or something. And it's not happening. I'm sorry. And no matter all these boneheaded moves, whatever, moves that have been made, you're still the president of the United States of America, and that still carries a lot of weight.
Well, don't forget, these are the same people that are convinced if they wave a magic wand enough times, they'll make Hillary Clinton president because they're going to manage to avoid the entire election somehow. Never mind the fact that that's constitutionally impossible.
Well, these are
unicorns and fairy farts and things like that,
Well, these are also the same people that think that the government is benevolent to give us rights, not that we actually have them inherently. So, they're already starting off just a tad short.
Speaking of the government giving rights, before we take the bottom of the hour break, there has been a break on the London story in regards to the child. Apparently, a judge has ruled that the American doctor who decided that he would be willing to attempt the treatment is going to be allowed and yes, that was air quotes in case, because no webcam yet, but you can hear when I'm using air quotes because I put emphasis on the word, is going to be allowed to go to Great Britain and see if the treatment may or may not be able to save the child. And of course, everybody on the other side of the argument is all up in arms and accusing the parents of child abuse and how, that the child deserves some dignity and is in immense pain and is terminal and the treatment's not going to do any good. Never mind the fact that this treatment's already worked at least once that we know of.
I also feel like these people are missing the point. Everyone who has a condition like Charlie does, it's fatal. It's a terminal condition. These experiments, these treatments, these experimental treatments are for the hopes that, A, they may prolong the inevitable and allow that child, the family, whatever, more time. B, that they may actually cure them, but that's way a long shot, and they know that. And C, and this is the absolute most important, they may discover and learn new ways in which that they can help and develop and adapt these treatments and these medical, experiments in order to be able to treat Charlie Guards of the future, to be able to develop a drug and a treatment plan that will eventually bring around a cure. Without these kinds of experimental treatments and without the participants in them, that doesn't happen, and they never have a chance. So I think that is the big fat point that is flying way over their heads. And also, they can just save it about giving a crap about how this kid feels. Because if this kid was in the womb and was 7 months in the womb and there was something like this, they'd be all about dismembering him and smashing the brain in. So I really can't be bothered to hear their complaints about the complete it's completely there is no proof that he is in pain. There is no proof that they're suffering, and it's complete speculation. So they can just save it.
My question, and I honestly, I've been trying to ask this question of the people that keep making comments like this on Twitter. I have asked every person that has made some sort of comment about, the parents are being cruel because the child is obviously in pain, blah, 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 blah. The kid deserves dignity, yada, yada, yada. My question to them every single time is, do you or have you ever had children? They never answer me. My honest opinion in that is they probably have never had children. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so flippant as to say, the child deserves to die with some dignity. No child deserves to die. That's the point, you moron. And as a father, even if I had a child with a terminal illness, I would do everything I could humanly possibly do. I would move heaven and earth to try to save that child. No judge on the planet could tell me that I couldn't do anything to save that child, because if they tried, I would probably go to jail for murder. And I'm not even exaggerating. That's what it means to be a parent. Your child comes first. That's what they're trying to do. They're putting the welfare of their child above their own. This is not selfishness. This is the exact opposite. They are willing to bankrupt themselves if that's what it takes to give that child 30 seconds more life. And everybody's trying to stop them. That's not your decision to make. That's not the government's decision to make. They are the parents. That is their child. They have the right to pursue whatever means they find necessary, as long as it doesn't do any harm, to prolong that child's life for however long they can.
And can I interrupt for 1 second and say that, this entire time the media has been regurgitating this talking point about how the U.S. doctors don't even think it will work. First of all, I was never able to find a citation for that. I looked and looked and looked on U.S. media, on British media. I searched all different kinds of things about the case in order to try to find somewhere in which one of the U.S. doctors that does these trials and treatments had said something like this. And so I never could find where this had happened. And secondly, he had been accepted into the treatment. I mean, they had said they were willing to take him. Now, they don't just do that for no reason, number one. They don't just do that for no reason. And then they also they also understand that these are terminal illnesses, so no one's expecting that they're going to get a cure out of this on every single person. So that claim was just completely false from the get-go, and they used it as leverage, and they even used it in court, and the parents asked them to back that up, and they couldn't. So, that has been the main thing that people have hung their hat on, and there is no validity to it.
All right, well, that's where we're going to end this particular segment, folks. We have got to take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation and continue asking ourselves the question, can someone just report the news? This is Jared and Rick live on KLR and Radio. We'll be back here in just about 4 minutes. Stay tuned.
In the fight, I'm not ready to back down, 'cause I've been through hell.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live, and I just did my first live read commercial for a sponsor. I think I'm about to have a heart attack. Welcome back. Yay. Jen and Rick, live, radio.com. And sorry, okay, so we have just about 24-ish minutes left. And we've kind of been all over the place today. I know you said you really haven't kept up with too much. Is there anything particular you wanted to hit on as we start wrapping things up, or?
Not really. It was really Charlie Gard and, that development and the continuing insane logic on the left. And then not even just the left. It's been, people that aren't even fully leftists. So it's just crazy how many people are brainwashed by big government. I mean, I had someone on my Facebook that I made a post, and she was like, they've done this for them and they've done that for them, and they paid them a wage in order to be in the hospital with him. And I lost my crap. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, oh, how gracious of them. This is not some compassionate and charitable act by the government. This is the system there. That's how it works. And now they're saying, we've given you enough and let's cut it off. And it was like, why should they? I was like, she was like, well, but we just don't let that baby go home. Let that poor baby go home. And I'm like, are you even hearing yourself? And she has 3 children, one of which has had cancer and another that has major disability. I'm going, how can you even say this? I just don't understand the thought process. But that was the main thing. And it just continues to be grating on me and just it makes me crazy that people don't see this for what it is.
No, that's kind of the same problem that I'm having with a lot of this, because I mean, I really don't understand when we became such a heartless group of people. Because, I mean, look at everything that they're talking about with this child. This child that has, yes, a terminal disability, but people are willing to try to see if they can help the child. Not only maybe prolong his life or maybe even save it, but try to make sure that children that are born this way in the future don't have the same problems. That's what you were talking about before we went on break. Without the parents of children like this that are willing to say, look, we want to do whatever we have to do to try to save our child, then yeah, even if it doesn't work for Charlie, who's to say that it's not going to be the next step to make sure that someone a few years down the road doesn't have this same problem? And who are they to stand here on their pedestals and talk about how this child deserves to die with dignity? I don't understand even that as a concept, because the child is just that. Yes, he is a child. He is a sentient being. But at the same time, he doesn't understand what dignity is. He doesn't have any concept of dignity. These are the same precepts and mindsets that they use to start talking about euthanasia for the elderly. Let them die with dignity. Let them be the ones to decide when.
Well, despite the fact that they are arbitrarily assigning whatever it is. I mean, who are they to talk? I mean, they are seriously making up whatever they think they should to decide what the quality of life is, what the dying with dignity is. And that's what happened with me on this post. You know, it was like, let them go, blah, blah. And then it turned into this thing about, you know, parents don't make the right choices because they're too emotional about these types of things. So that's why it's better if, you know, the hospital can recommend to the state and the court decides, so that the parents, and she even acted like this would be like a very a relief for the parents to not have to make these decisions, and that these other people can do it better. And it was like, I am sorry, that is absolute malarkey. And I saw it all over Twitter today too about that, about you know, the kid doesn't belong to the parents, and someone finally said, no, you're right, they don't. The child is their own child, you know, their own being, but they are their guardians. That's why they're their parents until they come of age, and they are there to make these types of decisions. And this person said, nope, it always needs to default to doctors, to the state, I mean, and the way in which that these people speak of it, it's like the parents will be wrong, and pretty much always are, if they go another way. But somehow the doctors or these judges can't be, that lawyers can't be. I thought everybody hated lawyers. I thought everybody thought the system was oppressive and had, you know, all sorts of systemic problems. But now we want to say that they're like the safeguards of the most innocent of our citizenry? Give me a break. That's absolutely insane. They're talking out of one side and, you know, about another. So it's just so infuriating.
Well, honestly, to me, it's nauseating but you know, you brought up an interesting point, because there are now people that think that ultimately the state should be the one that decides what happens in the aspect of the terminally ill. And this is a side effect of the education system that has been a part of both countries now for a very long time. We've had this centralized, nationalized education system in both America and now Britain, or the European Union, that has basically taught people that ultimately the state should be the ones making the decisions for them. Now, before anybody starts jumping all over me, I want you to think about some of the things that have happened in this country over the last 20 years and tell me that we haven't pretty much already started heading that direction on our own. One of the first things, or one of the first times I can remember in my lifetime that I was ready to basically go to war with a sitting Republican president was Bush 43, when he started talking about the Patriot Act. And everybody took it like it was the best thing ever. And I'm sitting here going, do you guys even understand what he's doing right now? And back then, nobody knew who I was. So I was like basically just this one guy. I felt like the guy standing on the street corner with the end of the world sign. And everybody's like, hey, you're an idiot. And I'm like, no, you're just not paying attention. And now here we sit with a president who is overused, overextended, and twisted the Patriot Act for the last 8 years. And everybody's going, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. And I'm over here going, gee, remember, I'm the guy that tried to tell you that over 8 years ago. Hi, how are you? But it all goes back to the education system, because we literally have people in positions that we have put them in, as far as what our society considers authority figures, which 9 times out of 10 is either a politician or some sort of Hollywood celebrity, or sometimes a hybrid of the two. Yes, Kid Rock, I'm looking at you. But so a few years ago, we had Chris Rock, a comedian, standing up in front of the world telling us that the American people should view the president and the first lady as their parents. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the American people should do what the president and the first lady told them to do, because they're basically our parents. That is the antithesis of everything this country was founded upon. That is the exact opposite of everything that we should be doing. The government, or the people at the head of the government, are not our parents. If anything, they are supposed to technically be our servants, not the other way around. That's why all of this gold ticket health care for the senators and the congressmen really ticks me off. That's why these pensions for life, they really tick me off, because these people are supposed to be the ones working for me, but they're the ones living the good life while I'm struggling day to day. How is that supposed to work? This was supposed to be a job of servitude, and there's a reason I'm bringing this up, because here locally we have a congressman, Mark Wayne Mullins, who is now basically, when he ran 6 years ago for the first time. he limited himself and told everyone every time he was reelected that he was only going to run 3 times. He is now, after just a few short weeks ago, basically telling constituents at a local town hall to kiss off because they don't pay his salary, because he's a businessman and he paid enough in taxes before he ever got elected to pay his own salary, and still pays taxes through that business to pay his salary, so he does this as a service. Now he's decided that he's not going to use his own self-inflicted term limit. He's going to run for a 4th term. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They go to D.C. and they change, and they stop working for us. They start working for themselves. It's happened time and time and time again, and we need to remind them that they are supposed to be working for us, not the other way around. But we can't, because we have too many people now in this country that believe it should be the opposite. That ultimately it should be the government telling us what to do, not us telling the government what to do. And that's why, honestly, I had a show last night that I expected to go a lot differently than it did. I actually had an anarchist on with me last night, and if you haven't listened, I do encourage you to do so. Now, as promised, I didn't really rebut or stand up against anything that he said, because I wanted his argument to stand on its merits or fall on its merits, and I told him as much. But it was a very interesting conversation, because it is nice to know that there are some people out there that honestly think that Americans should have the ability to govern themselves. Now, they take it even further than I want to take it, because they don't think there should really be any government at all. I can't really get behind that. But it was nice to hear that that the American people should have the ability, the wherewithal, and the foresight to be able to govern themselves, because that's what our founding fathers wanted. Look at what they intended the government to be. There was no federal government monstrosity when this country was founded. There was a small group called the general government. They weren't there full time. They didn't draw a salary. They drew a stipend while they were traveling and while they were there, and then they went home. And there were 3 things they were charged with. Basically 2 things: interstate commerce and mutual defense. That was it. That was pretty much all they dealt with. And it worked fine. And then we had to screw it up.
Right. Well, we started, allowing for them to control things that were not explicitly stated under their control by our Constitution. And some stuff just, it's always a snowball. And that's kind of what happened there. But a lot of people think that it's too late. I'm not one of those. I think that there are ways in which some things could be reined back in. I think that there are ways to start to take, make the measures to limit and dial back some of our growth in government. I think it will be very hard, and I think once you open the bottle, it's really hard to stuff that genie back in. And that's completely true, which is why I never wanted there to be healthcare in the first place, because I didn't want that to be one more thing on the list that we had to work to limit. But I do think it can be done. It's been done before. But it's the willingness. And I'm not sure, and that not just our politicians, that even the people are truly willing, like you were saying. Because on one hand, I've got these people, I see them all the time that call themselves conservatives, and they're like, do this, do that, repeal, blah, 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 blah. But then they're all for some of these other things that are actually big government, but it's something that they like, so they're fine with it. So there's a lot of hypocrisy on the right and on the left when it comes to things. They're like, stay out of my, my body, my choice, and stay out of my vagina and all that kind of thing. But then they're also like, but pay for it all. So how am I supposed to stay out of it if I'm paying for it? And then you've got the right where they're like, you can't tell me we shouldn't pay for this and we shouldn't pay for that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but now don't cut this program because this one I'm cool with, or I want us to be able to exert some sort of authoritarian power by this means because of this pet project. So everyone, I just think that, when you come down to it, like people aren't near even on the right, aren't near as freedom loving and willing to go the limited route as they proclaim to be. And that's the battle. That is what's going to keep us from being able to rein any of this in. Not that will be more problematic than getting politicians willing to do it.
Sadly, I believe you are probably correct. All right, so we're going to lighten things up for the last few minutes of the show. Did you know it was National French Friday? Because I didn't until this morning.
Is it really?
Yes,
well, I'm sure I'm glad I got some today then. Always on a road trip.
See, I'm feeling kind of left out. I did not, well, I guess technically I had home fries with my dinner, so does that count?
Sure, we'll allow it.
But yeah, anyway, so that was one little interesting point, and I'm sure you probably didn't see much of it because you were traveling, but there was a really fun hashtag trending earlier today. I guess there was some sort of a story or some sort of a hashtag about HuffPo that wound up trending the hashtag HuffPo in the Heartland, and it became this like whole parody thing that everybody was making fun of them. Some of the funniest ones, this is actually still one of the top ones, and we know this person. This was she changes the stuff in front of the ad all the time, and I'm always afraid I'm going to pronounce the stuff behind the ad wrong, but it looks like Mulratty, M-O-L-R-E.
Yeah, Mulratty.
Yeah, I know who she is, but I never say it out loud, and I'm always afraid I'm going to say it wrong.
Yeah, I never say the actual handle out loud.
But anyway,
just say Mo. So everybody knows Mo.
So as far as I can tell, the top one is still from 9 hours ago, and it appears to be hers. It says, "I'll have the chicken fried steak, because I don't eat red meat. HuffPo in the Heartland." I thought that was
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's so great. You know, actually, speaking of Mulratty, she and I are going to be on with Political Money next week.
You are? Oh, that's right. She said something about that. I forgot. Great.
So it's going to be me and Mo.
You'll get to put up with me for 3 hours next week.
So, what?
You'll get to put up with me for 3 hours next week. I bet you wish
I
you
know.
signed up for that now.
3 days in a row.
You're going to be like Friday. I'm going to get a text message. I'm taking Tuesday off. I put up with you 3 days in a row. I'm taking Tuesday off. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, and then she followed up, and she actually managed to be the number 4 top trending tweet on the hashtag too. And this one's a bit risque, but it's after dark, so whatever. Wow, I thought quotation marks fried green tomatoes was a euphemism for lesbians. Hashtag HuffPo in the Heartland.
That's good. That's good. She makes me laugh every day.
And then
she really does.
The only one, or actually I'm only going to read one more, but this is also one that honestly just made me laugh because I actually have followed this guy for a while. It's at Cranky Gordon, and it's just, he's like, wait, you're gay? In Nebraska? Are they holding you here against your will? Once, twice. HuffPo in the Heartland.
Oh, that's great. I love Cranky.
Yeah, we were kind of a little wound up, so I thought we'd end the show on a bit of a laugh.
Not a bad idea.
And
Not a bad idea.
And of course, I had a couple that I threw in there too that weren't nearly as funny as those. But yeah, I had to at least mention those because those were like the funniest ones I saw all day.
That sounds way too fun. I'm kind of sad I missed it. But I will say, speaking of the Heartland, I always love this trip. I drive what I call the back way, not on a major interstate, up some back roads, through some of the small towns and beautiful courthouses and American flags everywhere, and seeing the livestock grazing in the fields and the greenery, rolling hills. It just reminds me how much I love this country, and I love the flyover country that they all think are, we're such rubes, and they really don't. They're really missing out. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I love the change, like going from Texas into Oklahoma, where I can start to see in North Texas, where you can start to see the hints of the red dirt and just the different, this country is so beautiful, and particularly the middle of America that they, are so often so snobby about. So a nice little 7-hour road trip like today reminds me of that.
Yeah, that was actually most of my snark in regards to the HuffPo in the Heartland hashtag actually kind of centered around the whole flyover country thing. One of the ones that people seem to get a kick out of the most was, oh my God, women still allow men to open doors for them here. I'm in patriarchy hell. And then I threw in the little SpongeBob gif with him hiding under the blanket. That seemed to kind of
nice.
Go over well.
Nice.
All right, so we are officially out of time for this particular hour. Why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio hanging out with me?
Sure, and I'm at J Homestead on Twitter. I'm JR Homestead on Facebook, and I've got a little site with some really cool people, including at Mulratty, at misfitspolitics.com. And tomorrow night is Misfit Mischief. So if you're looking to drop the politics for a little bit and just have some good old fun, come join us over on at Misfits Politics on Twitter too.
Personally, I have been boycotting Misfit Mischief since I got murdered like 22 times on a Friday.
That was a really popular one. That was so funny. Oh my gosh. I was murdered a lot too.
Actually, I thought it was hilarious because every time I turned around, somebody was like, we killed you again. I'm like, what?
Right. I was murdered a lot and Stacy was the murderer a lot. So that was funny because she was like, what the hell, guys? Why am I always the killer? And then there were some people that I definitely would not trust to be lawyers that were, or honest witnesses that kept popping up. It was a really fun game.
Road Beer was my investigating detective more than once. I still don't think I'm going to ever get any justice.
Exactly.
All right, folks. Well, it has been fun. We will be back with you again Tuesday night right here on Jen and Rick, and I will be here with you here in just a few minutes on America Off the Rails. We got to get stuff reset and fired up. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow night for Robinson and Wright. As my co-host just reminded me, don't forget, she and a couple other folks will be on with the Polita Bunny on Wednesday night, so make sure you tune in and check that out. That will be at 7 Eastern, so we look forward to seeing you guys there. On that note, folks, we are out for the night. Take care. God bless, and quit telling that kid to hush. I told you to put him on the mic already.
No, he won't. He'll just freeze up if I try to put him on the mic. Though last week he was really great when he was the fan of the game, Junior Ranger at the Ranger game when my brother sang the national anthem. He stood in front of a huge crowd and was put up on the big screen and didn't. Oh, way to go. Loud crashes. And just smiled, and he didn't say a word, but he just smiled and waved with this like plastered smile face.
So you taught him the beauty queen smile and wave already, huh?
Pretty much. Kid's gonna be a star.
I saw the pictures. He pulled it off really well. All right, we are out, folks. Take care. God bless. We'll see you when we see you.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I